Okay, so Valerie, we've seen an increasing number of calls from parents worried about violence and aggression from their children in the home. How do you think this has come about for these parents?
Well, there's lots of different ways it can come about, but I think what we have to say to parents is that the most important thing is that they stay safe when their child is being violent with them, that their needs matter too, that they're important as a person, and they have to take care of their own safety. And by taking care of their own safety, they're also in really looking after their children's safety too, because you don't want the child to do something that they might regret later. So sometimes if the ultimate is to call the police, then the parent needs to call the police to protect themselves, and that's quite a difficult thing to do for parents.
So you've told us about the safety issues for the parents. What if there isn't a sort of immediate safety thing? Parents are faced with a child who's being aggressively violent. They can see that perhaps their emotions are sort of working up towards something. What can parents do in that situation?
Well, I think it's really difficult. I think parents often get into entrenched situations, and conflict becomes a pattern in a household. And I think what a parent needs to do is, when they're finding themselves in a situation where anger and everybody's screaming and shouting, is to try to think to themselves, okay, what is it I want here? And try to step back. It's a really difficult thing to do in the heat of the moment. But if you can step back, it's the best thing to do, because really people can't think when they're screaming and shouting. All they can do is feel, and they can't think logically. So you're not actually going to achieve very much if you do try to resolve the situation there and then. So just to leave it, to walk away from the situation, remove yourself, get out of the room if needs be, and then come back to whatever it is you're arguing or discussing the next day when everybody's calmer.
Okay. What long-term strategies do you think parents can put in place to sort of reduce future violence or aggressive behavior in the home?
Well, I think long term, I think a parent really needs to look at the way they relate to their child. I think it's very easy for a parent to get stuck in a mode that's quite confrontational, and I think it's quite difficult to adjust from when your child is much younger, where you can lay down the law a bit more, and the child will do what they've been told much more. But they get to a stage where they won't do that, and that you have to learn new ways of dealing with them, to be able to negotiate different ways of getting through to your child. So it is about compromise, sometimes choosing your battle, trying to find out what's important. Is that issue that you're fighting about really so important, to sort of make sure that you save those sort of fights in a way for the things that really matter.
So I'm imagining that a parent who's been physically abused by their child must be feeling a certain way. So how do you sort of support them emotionally around this issue?
It's a terrible thing for a parent to feel that their children are being aggressive with them. It can be very shaming. Parents are very reluctant to talk about it. It's not something that parent will admit readily to, and it's understandable. It's very difficult. But I think admitting there's a problem is the first step to making it better. And you can't just ignore a situation when there's emotions are so high regularly. You've got to do something about it and try to think about how you are and how you relate to your child, and maybe think of new ways of doing it, and go out and seek help. Talk to people about it as much as you can. Ring Parentline Plus. Talk to other people that can help. Don't keep it to yourself. That's not going to do any good.
That's very, very good advice. And what would you say to the parents who might say that their child is grown up, there's certain things they can't do, that there are certain boundaries and discipline things that they can't do, and to the parent who's really, really out of control and feel that their influence is no longer possible?
That is very difficult for parents. A lot of parents feel completely out of control with their children and don't know how to regain it. I think, again, it's about learning to step back in a situation and think about how you are relating to your child, and maybe looking at new strategies of the way you talk to your child. Remember, you can't often control somebody else's behaviour, but you can control your own behaviour, and maybe that's the first step to looking about the way you are reacting.